you ever strummed along to the generally prescribed chords to The Kids Are Alright and thought, now that's not wrong, but I feel like Pete's doing a little something extra here? Then this video is for you, and this video is dedicated to my very mediocre tax guy, yes, it's that time of year again, David Nutter, to thank him for doing my taxes in spectacularly mediocre fashion. Thank you, David. And here we go. The first thing that may get your fanny in a wrinkle is the tuning. Maybe back in the day where they just kind of tuned to each other, or maybe something happened to the tape and it sped up. But the tuning is standard tuning, somewhere in between no capo and capo 1, somewhere about right there. So if you're gonna play along with the song and that kind of thing bugs you, you're looking for the reference pitch somewhere in the neighborhood of 454 hertz, but for the purposes of this video, we're just gonna play it in normal standard tuning, no problems. And first, you just hit a normal D chord. I don't mind. Then we're gonna play G, but it's Pete Townshend G. He does it with his thumb. We got E3 and B3, and that's it. We don't want to hear the E string or the A string. Technically renders that a G power chord because there's no third in there. There's no B note. There's no the note that makes it G major or minor. Anyways, Pete Townshend G, followed by Pete Townshend A, which is going to be one finger A plus the B string 5th fret. We only want to hear from A to B. This also, lacking a C sharp, is just an A power chord, done in a very strange way. So, D, Pete Townshend G, Pete Townshend A, do it again, D. Of course, with all these wacky ways to play normal chords, go ahead and play the regular chord. I'm just gonna show you what I hear. Then you do that D, G, A thing one more time, and all these Ds, you can, you know, do any of those things, but that's fine. G, A, and now we're gonna play 2 measures of D, but now we know where Eddie Vedder got that, and between Pete and Eddie with their strange hand powers, they can probably keep their D chord and just stretch their pinky freakishly up to the 5th fret of the E string. I can't, so I have to switch to pointer, middle on the B string, and then up there for just a second. So I'd go, and then, you know, and mess around with the D. But that line, D, G, A, D, and then we're into the next part. And I know sometimes right? Normal, gasp, E minor, Pete Townshend A. Here's a fascinating chord. Okay, check this out. When we play D and we make it a D suspended 4 by adding that G note on the E string 3rd fret, there's no law of the universe that says we have to add that G note. We could add that G note. So, ring finger on B3, pointer finger on G2, middle finger on other E3. I love this chord. And then down to D with an F sharp in the bass. I'm going to use my thumb. That's convenient. The only thing that's changing here is the E string. That one is going from 3 to 2. So, and E minor, Pete Townshend A, D suspended 4 with a G in the bass, F sharp in the bass, then E minor, Pete Townshend A, and D, G sus 4, A sus 4, Pete Townshend A. Ready for the whole thing? E minor, Pete Townshend A, D sus 4, the G in the bass, F sharp in the bass, E minor, Pete Townshend A, D sus 4, A, D sus 4, A. I went with it because I said it. I meant A sus 4, A. A sus 4 is one finger A plus the B string 3rd fret. That's that part. The first half of the second verse is where things get really exciting. It's still the D, you know, Pete Townshend G, Pete Townshend A situation, but in true thinking guitar player fashion, he found a different way to play these chords, and it's really cool. D is going to be like this. Baby E5, B7, G7, and to sus4 this shape, because he does, your pinky finger goes up 1 fret on the B string. So, and then the G is a fascinating G suspended 2 played up here, E10, B10, G12 plus the open D string. And The A, I think, is best achieved if you bar D to baby E on the 9th fret, plus B10 and D11. Plus the open A string, of course, because it's an A chord. So you're going to do this twice. D, G suspended 2, really weird A, do it again, and then, thank goodness we only have to do that many times. Then we're going back to normal Townville, but there's a couple little flourishes there. It's going to be D plus O2-3, walking up into Pete Townshend G, and then into Pete Townshend A, and he grabs the A string 4th fret and pulls it off to open. You're going to do this twice. D, walk, G, A. Then you're back into what I'm calling the chorus, the E minor, A, D sus4 with a G in the bass, F sharp in the bass, E minor, A, and then our D, sus4, A sus4, A. All right. That brings us to the bridge. You'll need more crazy pinky powers. It's A, but it's F-shaped A, so F, G, A. No need to do the bar. The E note is okay, so we're strumming from A to E, and once in a while he grabs that C sharp note way up on the E string 9th fret, so like, I know if I go things will be a lot. This chord is fascinating. I always thought it was a G. Eddie Vedder plays it as a G. Here's what chord it is. It's A7 sus 9 is what I'm going to call it. We got bar from D to E on the 7th fret. Add the B string 8th fret and the D string 9th fret. You could add the A string if you want because it's an A chord, but I do not hear that in the guitar track. I like it better with. So we got F-shaped A with the high note. Things would be a lot better for her. That's the bridge. You go between those two crazy chords over and over again. You do another verse and another chorus, and that brings us to the breakdown. There's no singing for a long time. That part. It's 6 measures of A, and the A chords change. So I'd like to use the A chords we've already talked about. Let's do A, Pete Townshend A for 2 measures. F-shaped A for 2 measures, add that if you want. And then I'm just going to play a D shape on frets 9 and 10, and if I feel like it, I'll add my pinky finger to the D string 11th fret. Notice that accomplishes the same thing as that, but like that's easier to land, and then you can hit that, so I'm just doing it that way. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 6 measures of A, however you want to play A, and then the really weird thing happens. And that is this, A major 7 now. It's going to be 1 finger A plus the E string 4th fret, down to A7, which means the E string goes down to the 3rd fret, A6, the 2nd fret, back up to 7, and then it's D suspended 4 with the G in the bass again, but I'm going to add that G too. Lots of G's in this. Did I say A or D? Who cares? D suspended 4 with a G in the bass and the top. Here it is. You do this twice. Back into whatever part comes next. You know, because you've heard this song before. Here's a tip for kind of like always. I was doing this just now, but I want to explain it to you so you don't feel bad if you come across a chord you just can't land. I can't land D suspended 4 with a G in the bass and the top. I can't land it. I can land D suspended 4 with a G in the bass, so I'm just going to land it and then give myself a moment to get back to that high G note. So, for instance, you wait that long wrong. It doesn't matter, just kind of avoid that string, or it's not even wrong if it's open E. Give yourself time to get to the weird ones. And those are all the pieces, which means it's time for you to go use your earballs and figure out which one goes where and when. And it's also time for the sounding of the rubber chicken of you made it to the end of the video. Plus, I wrote this purchase off. So apropos. And hey, that's my favorite part about my job. I get to write off rubber chickens. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that was fun and helpful, and I will see you next time with more stuff. Goodbye.